Here we are again. Tesla to Mars, the podcast. This is our 22nd episode. Damian is not here today. Damian is on a ski trip. Good for him, but unlucky for us. We have a couple of topics lined up.
Where is he skiing?
I don't know. Where is he skiing?
Maybe Jack, do we know where he's skiing?
In France.
In France. Oh, well.
Ugh.
I think he's drinking wine then. But
Yeah,
let's
wrong
see.
choice. Never go to France. We have a couple topics on the agenda. Of course, the new Model Y, the Juniper, who just got released. We're going to talk about Optimus, FSD weekly update. Of course, Elon and AFD in Germany, and we have Mark Zuckerberg at the Joe Rogan podcast that we're going to shortly discuss. And then, of course, we're going to talk about some Tesla stocks. The Model Y Juniper, it got released last week, Thursday on Friday. Mm-hmm. And it's going to be released in the Chinese market first, or the Asian market in general. And
do you like it, Kees? Yeah, I already thought so. Why? What's happening?
I don't really like the back end of the vehicle that much. The light strip, I need to see it in real life.
I do agree with that.
It looks a little bit too Chinese. You know, it's not really a Tesla, but the front side, love it. I really love it. Yeah.
I learned the backside is fewer parts. That's why.
It's actually more parts because the whole trunk used to be one solid piece, which made it more difficult to align the bodywork. And that's also what you see when a car gets delivered with panel gaps and not really aligning. So they increased the part count, but it makes it easier in factory to adjust it and align it. Mm-hmm. And you'll also see a difference in the rear window. In the current version of the Model Y, it's rounded, and here it's a straight piece. So probably.
Yeah, but somebody showed me that's the reason that it has fewer parts.
But
it looks like maybe more parts, but.
Maybe we can bring it up the screen as well, okay? So everybody who's looking at our YouTube movie can see it as well.
And get it on there for the Model Y.
There it is. Yeah.
This is the new.
Should we tell that we're in a new studio to our listeners?
Sorry?
We're in a new studio.
They've already seen
it. Oh, they already saw it. I'm the first
20.
one in the studio.
Yeah,
definitely.
Yeah.
Florian got his cherry pop today in the studio. This is the new front.
I like the new front. Like it looks more like the Cybercab, which we saw in 1010. Yep. So I think there are some, let's say some efficiencies there on the front end. The one thing that people are falling about is really the front side of the car has now one stripe of lights,
bar, yeah.
Yes, and has a little bit of more, I would say, edgy hood as well. But the light itself, like it's split up in three parts now, right? And I think the Cybercab is one, and the
both
Cybertruck is also one. Yeah. So people are not really liking that part, but yeah.
But because it's a bar and it's LED, it's more diffuse light, and the cameras can see it better.
Exactly. Yeah. That's so that's the idea, behind it. But I also like the view. And then there's one specific thing, if you go back, it's the camera, the front end camera.
Yeah, it's there.
Yeah.
Are we going to see a retrofit for my car, for instance?
Well, we don't know. The reason is, why do they want it? Is it because there are some debates about it, right? Is it needed for full self-drive, or isn't it needed? So I'm not sure. Some people say it's more for parking, but...
Yeah, and we see the same with Cybertruck, which has a camera there as well as the Semi also has another camera. But it kind of makes sense, because if you take the line of sight with these cameras, there's always like a blind spot in front of the vehicle, and especially with auto park and stuff like that, it might make sense for a camera here. Added benefit, right now you have like this the creeping functionality in FSD supervised, right? If you put a wide view camera here, you don't need to be up front for cross traffic anymore, because now it uses these cameras. So you really need to be just pulling up just enough to make it visible. And I think this is for the safety issues.
Okay, could be. Well, let's now go to the back end, because I think on the sides it didn't change that much, right?
No, and I've listened to and watched a lot of videos about it. There is no difference in the door panels. This part remains exactly the same. So in terms of production cost, it's the same process. The only thing that changes is the back end here and the front end.
And also the glass is more as a corner, right? Before it was more roundish.
Which part you're talking
The
about?
the glass on the back side of the car, so on the trunk.
This, yep.
Yes, so that's now square, and I think the red light or the light bar is really different than before. And I do like the diffuser. Like if you look at the bumper itself, it's
Yep.
more aggressive,
And
it's more sporty.
It sticks out more as well.
Yeah. So I think that looks good. I'm not too sure about the bar on the back side. So
No, and it's indirect light. So this is the first time we're seeing this on a production vehicle. It's an indirect bar reflecting the light. So it's not luminescent by itself.
But why? So there must be a reason why, right? They I think one of the rumors was that they can show if these cars are on the road and they're actually driving themselves, and on the Tesla app that they can be green or red to show if they're available or not.
Yeah.
But are any other rumors, or what are your thoughts on these ones? Maybe Florian, you can.
Yeah, so
chip
what
in
I'm
there?
just reading is that the repairability of the new design at the back is better because it's two parts instead of one part. So there we go with our leasing company, lower repair cost.
Yeah, and that's actually we had a guy working for us, I think a year ago, who worked with us with Mr. Green for quite some time. The first thing he said when the initial version of the Model Y got launched, in the back you have like the trunk. It is the bodywork goes more down than you would want it to go. So when there's a rear end collision, you need to replace that whole body part, whereas other vehicles have like the plastic bumper to account for that. So yeah, lowering the damage cost.
That's maybe also why the back bumper now sticks out more.
Yep.
Because I think, and Florian, you know better than me, but I think 80% of all the damages is due to parking, right?
Yes.
Something like that.
Parking and rear end collisions. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. So these parts need to be easily replaced as well. But then, how do you open the back? Like, how do you open the trunk?
That's in the video. It opens automatically when you arrive, just like my car right now after a software update. If I'm behind the vehicle, you hear 3 beeps. And if you don't move out of the way, the trunk opens. But I guess underneath that reflective light bar, there's like this opening for your hand to slide in, where a button will be.
That looked weird, but okay.
Yeah, sorry.
All right, well, let's go to the inside.
Okay, inside. First thing we're noticing here is like it's the same center console as the Model 3 has, the updated version of the Model 3. Only thing is that there's this strip surrounding it, which is special or exclusive to the launch edition in China.
Is it a light strip or something, or what is it?
No, it's brushed metal. But the door panels, they are different. So what you see here, where my mouse is pointing, this is actually the speaker. So it's well hidden. It actually looks a lot more premium than it was in the past. And the steering wheel changed again. Because in my car, I don't have any stalks behind the steering wheel. So left is for the indicators and right is for the gear selector, the drive selector. That one still is away, so that's gone. So you use the screen just like in the Model S Plaid and the 3. But the indicator stalker is back. So that's weird. But what they also changed is on the left side of the steering wheel, I have 2 buttons to go indicate left and right. And then I have my high beam here, which is just a little notch too far to conveniently touch it with your thumb. And that's exactly the reason why I bought the sexy buttons from Enhance. And the button for the windshield wiper is on displays in my car. Now they relocated it, high beam and windshield wiper. So it makes a lot more sense to just do everything with your left hand, and your right hand doesn't need to touch the steering wheel at all.
Do we have any idea of like why they make those changes? Like the one thing that I know is that everything's data driven, and they interview quite a lot of users. Same with the semi-truck, right? And I think there has been quite some feedback about the Stalks, at least for the indicators.
Yeah.
So they might just brought it back because more people in general like to have it instead of not having it there. So
yeah, I think that's the main reason as well. And since the Model Y is like the big volume model, it makes more sense to cater to a market who's used to having stocks up there. So I think that's the main reason.
I think also they added some stitching to the dashboard, which is indicative for like high premium stuff. So I think like if you go to high end cars like Audis and then not having the cheapest one in a certain model, they don't have it. But the higher you go, the more they use the stitching on the dashboard. And I think like Ferrari, etc., they use it as standard. But I actually like that. Just gives a bit more premium feel, and the same is with the sound system that you can see in the door panels.
Even more
Speaking of Audi, they lost against Tesla last year in total sales
for the first time in history.
First time.
Yeah,
it's quite a milestone, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
It's now the 13th best performing car manufacturer.
Yeah. But what also changed in the inside is the screen has become bigger.
Definitely, like it's the same size as in
now 15.4 inches.
Yes, yeah, same.
And also the rear screen is also bigger.
Definitely. And one of the best improvements that might go unnoticed, and you can't really see it right now, but if you open the trunk, it's made out of plastic. So it makes it a lot easier to load and unload stuff from to the car and not damage the paintwork, because right now that is all paint in the current version, and in the new Model Y, it's hard plastic, so it doesn't scratch and cause damage that much. So the overall usability has improved a lot, actually.
I'm still like the bar on the back. It must have a reason why they did it, right? I mean, why else would you do it? And then also, why isn't it at the Model 3? But yeah.
We might see an update coming for that as well in the coming months.
Yeah,
also,
I think
power folding rear seats.
Definitely, and a powered frunk as well. At least the opening of the frunk is powered. Yeah. So that's
still a question mark if it goes back as well with power.
Yeah, I would love it for that to come. Yeah.
There was somebody on X from Tesla China, so another direct source, but I think they mentioned something like 50,000 Model Ys ordered on the first day.
Wow.
In China, yeah, definitely, yeah.
That's like, in the good weeks in December, it was like 21,000 cars a week.
Yeah.
So you're basically selling out for, what is it, almost 3 weeks in one day.
Wow.
That's insane, right?
Yeah, it is.
And we have to see what kind of margins, because what I also learned is that there are almost 70 parts diminished. So
it should be higher than, right?
It's a redesigned body casting. So
and I think there were also some expectations now. It has been launching in China, which I think makes sense. It's by far the biggest market for Tesla. All the other OEMs are basically losing there from Europe. So all the ICE car makers. But I think there were some rumors that they would start this week with the production in Berlin, right, for the Model Y.
And that's actually been confirmed.
Today, 14th of January.
Yeah, that has been confirmed. And I saw a lot of posts about it as well. So we have Toby Mulhauser. It has been confirmed by management today. So this is a tweet from yesterday. So Giga Berlin will start production of the new Model Y tomorrow, Jan 14. This has just been confirmed by the management today.
But can we already order it then if you go to Tesla in the Netherlands?
That's what I said. So like I said, a lot of people are going to be hitting the refresh button on the Tesla website tomorrow.
Well, let's hit it.
Let's do it a few times.
Let's do the live...
Select the right country.
When I last looked it up, I think it was it's still the old one. But I think if you look at order now and you order one, it says like May or something when it gets delivered.
Expected delivery date, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, May 2025.
So probably your order will just be converted to
the new one.
To a new one.
Yeah.
Or Tesla will reach out to you to push for taking delivery of a inventory model.
Yeah.
To clear up inventory.
It will be interesting to see how the quarter goes, because I think so if they start in May with the first Model Y cars, that means like for the first 4 months you don't have any Model Ys, which
any new orders.
If they start delivering in May and now no new Model Ys get delivered, would be strange. I don't think that's going to happen, but what they do expect, and I think Hello Joy had a good coverage on it. He was like, I'm not too concerned about it, because it will be a couple of weeks of like light volumes, and in China you have Chinese New Year, so nobody's buying anyways, and after that they can hit it out with like 20,000 a week. So he just thinks like it will be cramped in less weeks, but still good quarter. So.
And also Tesla's pushing for, in light of the Chinese New Year, they're offering a special kind of referral incentive program if you purchase or refer someone for a Tesla. So again, an additional incentive to keep that delivery number high until this one gets delivered.
It could even be that the numbers of Europe were a little bit low because everybody was expecting the Juniper coming.
Exactly, and I hear that as well in our company.
I'm doing the same.
Before we had the Model 3, the new version live, I mean, the number of Model 3s delivered this year is a lot higher than the year before.
Yeah.
So we were at like, I think 80-20% between Model Ys and 3s, and now it's like 60-40 or something.
Yep.
So I think the number of Model Ys will come back to 70-30 or something. So we will see a big increase in Model Ys.
In a couple months from now.
I think
for the whole year.
Yeah. I think it's the best car.
Especially
honestly,
for
Model Y. You drive a Model Y, right,
yes.
Florian? What do you think of the new model? Would you change it for the new model? You like it better, or?
Yeah, well, I'm not a real car guy.
Florian actually
wait. What's happening? Not a real car guy. You have a lease company car.
Yeah, it's on record for years already.
I'm leasing robots, not cars.
Not cars. Yeah. Okay. All right.
We are not a leasing company.
Sorry.
I'm telling you.
No, I know, but like basically you have 5,000 cars under your management. So.
Robots.
Yeah.
On wheels.
Disguised as cars.
Yeah.
What about this question? Like I thought of this. You said you like the difference between Cybercab and Cybertruck on the one end and this. Mm-hmm. Why would they not make it out of one solid piece? Mm-hmm. And my idea was, and that it also has a reason why they started in China as well, because competition is stronger and the overall design preferences or aesthetic preferences over there are different. So they released this design over there. But are we going to see one without the light bar for the European market? And our friend Herbert also responded to it. That he said that it made a lot of sense. We've heard Tesla mention in the past that they intend to make region-specific design. I hope they don't get rid of the front light though, as I personally like it. I like it as well. But I don't think it's a long shot. And we saw Stephen Mark Ryan also made a comment about it yesterday. I saw.
Yeah, could be, but I think you have a sort of a fight, because so yes, they've been mentioning like launching like Chinese specific cars, and we're talking about like 5, 6, maybe 8 years ago that Elon mentioned like we're building manufacturing facilities around the globe in China, Europe, and the US, and we'll have region-specific cars. But like the one thing it doesn't help with is becoming more efficient, right? Like different parts, makes it more complex. Now you can just say, all right, we'll copy and paste the production line to every facility. And if you change things, it's going to be more complex. And if there's one thing that Elon doesn't like, it's to have things more complex. So I think it's an early thought. I haven't heard it anymore after that. No. I've only heard like balls to the walls with FSD and that kind of stuff and robotics, I'm not too sure about it, to be honest.
No, I'm completely with you, and especially with CyberCap coming. I mean, we will see the full focus on CyberCap.
Yeah,
definitely.
Yeah,
and there will be one CyberCap for the whole world, or will we see different CyberCaps per region? I don't think so.
I think it will be two. It will be just two versions.
Maybe different colors, but
maybe different colors. But I don't think like they want to crank out as much as possible, as efficient as possible.
Yeah.
Talking about that, I mean, we've been thinking of importing a Cybertruck to Europe.
Yes,
but also exporting cars from our continent, Europe, to, for example, Dubai.
Yeah.
Or back to the US. But it's kind of strange that it's still difficult to do that now. I don't know if I'm mixing up your agenda, but I would love to talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, not really, but how do you mean exactly?
Well, we are with our podcast. We're hoping to get a Cybertruck into to Europe.
Yeah.
So the first thing that we need to do is to get it on plates. Well, we have a solution.
Definitely, yeah. We found
the second issue we have is how are we going to supercharge that thing?
Yeah,
we have a solution for that. Just getting a new socket in there.
Exactly, because we need to replace the North American charging standard plug.
Yeah,
either via an adapter or the complete module to a CCS one. Yeah,
maybe.
But the most important issue that we have at this moment is navigation, and the navigation doesn't work here.
No, navigation doesn't work, and also superchargers don't work. So only the V2 superchargers are open for Cybertruck, but V3, V4 are not open and also not visible on the navigation if it would work.
So maybe for the listeners out there, I think this is a new thing. So we've said like we're busy with getting a Cybertruck, or once we have a Cybertruck, we'll invite our listeners to it as well. But maybe tell a bit of the story in case Florian, just take it away as you like, but maybe explain like what we've been doing, how the process works, where we are, and what the roadblocks are, and just explain like for people maybe who want to import a Cybertruck as well. And I think it's a nice story. Maybe we can start from the beginning and just take it through.
Well, you got started with it.
Maybe to start, I ordered around, I think 100 Cybertrucks.
Yeah,
on my private account.
I did 5.
I got so addicted to ordering Cybertrucks, I couldn't stop myself.
For €100 reservation cost per order, right?
For FSD at 7,500 euros.
Yeah. Locked it in.
So it was like a free call option, or very cheap. Well, we have to see how it works out right now.
Yep,
if we were ever being able to order a truck, but that was the first step. Then I got in contact with CERN Basher, with Glenn Cook. And they told me they also ordered like 100 Cybertrucks for the US part. And I said, why don't we going to work together? And then we came to the idea of why don't we bring in a Cybertruck? And then I got contacted by this guy in Czechia, Norton.
Yeah.
And he said to me, do you know any guys who are able to help me get a Cybertruck from the US to Czechia? I said, I know a guy, Glenn. And now he has this car. And then we wanted to rent that car in December, or what was the idea again?
Yeah, I wanted to do a marketing promotion with the Cybertruck during Sinterklaas introduction. So when Sinterklaas enters into the city, you have, of course, a lot of parents with a lot of kids. And Cybertruck is like honey to kids. So I thought it would be the best marketing stunt, because you have kids flocking to the Cybertruck, and I wanted to have like the Cybertruck towing a Model 3, that we actually promote the Model 3 in our redrive program. And where there's kids, there's parents, and parents usually need a car. So I thought it would be a good one. But sadly, it was a little bit too difficult to get it here actually, and signing the contracts, and there was some stuff that came along with it. But now we're trying to get our hands on...
So then Damian came in and he said, why don't we just buy it?
Definitely. So we're starting that right now. So we're in touch actually with Glenn and Norton. And we're trying to get it here. So that's step one. So we need to... we paid the funds, and then we need to transport the vehicle over to here by boat, because that's the cheapest one. And then we need to set up a company in either Poland, Romania, Czech Republic, or I don't know the fourth one by heart, set up a company there and register via that company. So it's not very easy or straightforward. And as a private person, good luck.
And we need to register it in one of those countries because then we get a license plate, isn't it?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so we get a license plate for that country, and it's actually legal to drive around with it with just your regular driver license in Europe. However, there's this gray area legal wise, because if you are a Dutch citizen where you pay your Dutch taxes here, and if you have that truck more than 6 months over here, you're obliged to put it on Dutch plates. But the Dutch authority doesn't register it, so it's kind of a gray zone over there. But it's perfectly legal.
Yeah, and then we're also thinking about what kind of Cybertruck we want to purchase, isn't it?
Yeah, and we took the safe route because there's a couple issues with getting that thing registered, and the most important part of it is weight. And if we go for Cyber Beast, we're exceeding the weight limit a lot. So if we go for just a long range version, we're within the boundaries of the weight, so we don't have a risk. And if I think it might increase our chances to getting it on Dutch plates as well, once RDW finally gets it into their brains to register that thing over here.
And how expensive is the long range right now in the US?
In the US, it's base version 79,990, excluding fees and taxes. So I think with fees and taxes, you're closing into like $87,000.
But so if people want to buy a Cybertruck in the US, they have to buy it. They have to ship it. I think shipment's like €5,000. Right?
Yeah, 5K, and then you need to pay customs, and customs is around 10% of the
another
complete
8K.
value.
So another 8K. So you're at like 88 plus 5 is 93.
Yeah.
So close to 100. And then basically once you got it here, you have to get it to one of those other countries. So
yeah. So shipping or like transporting with a trailer. Yeah.
Yeah. So to Albania or whatever, where they can register it, right? And you have to register a company there. And once that's done and it's on the plate, you have to pick it up there and then drive it home, right?
Yep.
Easy peasy. And
that's what Case is going to do. Right?
That's what Case is going to do. Yeah. So there are still some things you have to think about, right? So the charging, and can you tell more about that?
Yeah, because the North American charging standard is a different connection, so we would need to replace that with a CCS component, or work with an adapter. And there's two other issues that you need to take care of as well. The indicator lights need to be like amber color, orange color, so we need to replace those. And we need to round off those sharp edges a little bit, and that's really an ugly solution because like there's this black strip gonna be put up on top of it.
It doesn't have to be, right?
Yeah, well, that's at least what I heard, that there's
because there is now one in the Netherlands, as we know, by a famous YouTuber or guy on the internet, Kosso. But I don't think he drives with anything around his edges. I think there is something he said, like, I'm going to do something about it because I want to, like,
we haven't seen that yet, though. So we've only seen the videos that he went to Albania and get it on plates. But actual close-ups still need to be seen.
And like, how long is this process still going to take? Like, when do you expect to have it here?
I think at least 4 months.
All right. So if it happens, I'm gonna be really happy, right? But I'm gonna laugh so hard if they launch a Cybertruck before the time here, and you can just order it and it comes in.
I think we're gonna cry then, but
I'm not quite sure if they're gonna launch a Cybertruck before that date. If they even ever gonna do it.
Fingers crossed. I hope they're gonna do that. But if they need to change that much to get it to Europe in the whole production process, doesn't really make sense to have all those changes done just for some Europeans to drive it. And then adding to that, like a truck or a pickup truck in general, how often do you see those driving around here?
It would probably be more normal to have like a cyber fan or something.
Exactly, which has a lot the use case for that is way more practical. And if you look at the raw size comparison of a Model Y versus a Cybertruck, it's almost twice the size.
Yeah, well, we're not used to those kind of things, but I would love it for it to
I
come
will
in.
make a bet that the Cybercab is here earlier than the Cybertruck.
Probably, yeah. I'm going along in that.
But we are going to bring the Cybertruck to the Netherlands.
Yeah.
We will be the first.
Nonetheless, we're going to have one. Definitely, yeah.
Yeah, and I would also encourage our listeners, if you have any ideas or...
want to go for a ride if it's here.
A network
assistance.
Or assistance, please help us. We are in the middle of it, so we still need to learn a lot. And if you want to rent it, also you're able to do that through us.
Hit me up.
And we will do a lot of events where we're going to show it.
And why don't we buy the one from Kosso?
Yeah.
He bought it for a big chunk of money, so it's already, I think, more expensive if we buy it from him.
For how much did he buy it then?
I think he bought the Cyber Beast, so that's a lot more expensive. And he bought it from someone who already got it here. Mm-hmm. So I think he spent at least 150, 160K.
Okay.
Maybe even more.
Yeah, I will. We need to see how much money it will cost us.
We can always ask, right? But
we will make a nice spreadsheet of it.
And we're going to set up a GoFundMe. So if you want,
yeah, exactly. Cool.
Yeah, we can actually do that. We can crowd fund it and have a shared ownership.
If people are interested in it, just hit us up in the comments, and we can always have a think about it, right?
Shall we move on to the next topic?
Yes, let's go.
Yeah. You brought up the topic this time for Optimus.
Yes.
You've got some news about that. So
some news.
Well, the news is already very old, isn't it? I mean,
yeah, okay.
We're going to have 500,000 Optimi in 2027.
But we got an update. So you, I think Herbert discussed it in his podcast as well.
Mm-hmm.
We made an estimation a couple episodes ago how many Optimus or Optimi will be produced and delivered. So for this year, we said around 1,000, right?
Mm-hmm.
Few thousand.
Yeah. But now it actually is looking like we're going to have 5,000 this year and 50 to 100,000 next year.
Yeah, so every year it will 10x
the
production.
It's insane.
So if they're gonna 10x the production next year already, we're already talking about 50,000.
But let's set the record straight, right? I think there was an interview from Elon with somebody I don't know and I haven't seen before, and it was just an interview where he was giving a lot of golden nuggets. So one of them was Optimus. I think he spoke about FSD, which we will do in a bit. But I think the big shocker on the Optimus part is where they want to go next year. I think in the last call we already said next year there's going to be 1,000 or a few thousand Optimus. That's what he already said. So 1 to 2, 3, and now it was more concrete. It's I think this year is 5,000 at the end of the year, and the next year it's going to be 50 to 100. So for me it meant all right, they're going to scale.
Mm-hmm.
So you want to be done with your, let's say, design, but also should have an idea of how is the roadmap to the production line going to look like. And I think they're actually pretty far, because otherwise it is impossible. In all cases, Elon is quite optimistic. He might be early with some of the expectations, but it won't be off by a lot, in my opinion. It might be next year, 2030, if things don't hit like we want. But I cannot imagine this year almost coming nothing, and the next year maybe a few thousand. I think that's not the case, because otherwise he wouldn't have said so. So I think for me that's the big shocker.
Yeah, and then
if you apply the logic of 10x every year, I think they are at a few hundreds this year. So times 10 will be a few thousand this year.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's not quite far off the reality.
No, but that's what I mean.
It's even more interesting to think of, okay, how many of them do they need in their own warehouses, in their own factories, and if that's about. What would it be? A few thousand?
How many employees do they have?
Not more. Maybe 10,000. But what are they going to do with the other ones?
I think you're underestimating. I think if you look at how many people work in there,
million people.
Yeah,
No, that's too much.
no.
How many people work at Tesla?
100K.
150,000.
Yeah, roughly. Yeah.
Yeah.
The article December 2nd, 2024 states that as of June 2024, Tesla employs 121,000
Yeah.
people.
Yeah, but they're now ramping Shanghai, right, with the battery production as well. So I think like 100,000 they can easily use themselves.
Think so.
Yeah, depending on
why not? Like how
technically
many people do you
advanced
need
it
at the HQ and like administration, that kind of stuff? I think majority of those people are really in the factories itself. So
yeah, let's say conservative 50, 75,000, 50K, 75,000.
yeah, but then still, so for the next 1.5 years, like if they're so productive as they seem to be, then I think everything will go to Tesla first. Like if you look at the use cases and you were
It
having
would
those
make
bots,
sense though. So testing is all in-house and they don't experience any issues like with customer-facing issues that robots don't really perform up to expectations.
Well, they might do some testing at other factories because otherwise they're optimized for like car factories, robot factories, whatever you like. But so they might like see if they can work in restaurants. I think like McDonald's is one of the first who's going to have this because they optimize everything always.
Flipping burgers.
Yeah, but seriously, I think they're going to be one of the first, but who's going to do it fully optimized? But yeah, my expectation is that in the first year, 1.5 years, use cases will be predominantly for Tesla itself. And after that, they might ship.
In terms of use cases, what do you think are the first use cases of an Optimus robot?
Yeah, I think other OEMs where they have the same kind of process which Tesla has, so they can copy paste it to other. So they could even license it or put those bots on the same lines.
Yeah, I think so as well. If you look at Figure AI,
they
already shipped to
BMW.
BMW, yeah. So I think it makes sense. But how crazy will it be if Tesla says like, here's my package. This is Optimus, it's going to be shipped to BMW. I think people will go nuts.
Yeah.
Do you want FSD? Oh, that's an additional 10K.
Yeah, exactly. Do you want to have cooking like a star chef? All right, $100 a month. Yeah, there's a lot of software use cases, but I agree with Florian.
So this year we're going to import the Cybertruck, and next year we're going to import an Optimus.
The Optimus, yeah, would be nice.
And then a Cybercab.
What will be the issues importing an Optimus to the European Union?
Probably legislation.
Charging.
So that's always a problem here. Legislation.
You're allowed to bring it in, but it's not allowed to cook.
No.
Sorry.
Yeah.
It has too many sharp edges. It cannot ever cook safely. Imagine if it falls, it would break your kid.
Did you see that video they made? It was a 10-minute video about this guy driving
Optimus,
around.
Yeah. And Optimus and chasing.
Rescuing this guy driving on autopilot. It's hilarious.
Yeah, it's funny. But it is like, I think like maybe within 5 years you will have them in your house, probably. Like first for the people who can afford it, right? But I think before
if they're going to produce 500,000 in 2027, they will be producing what, 2 million in 28?
Yeah, but still, like how much demand is there in like factories?
Yeah, but also
I think it's huge.
But also in homes.
I think it will be a lot earlier than 2030.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Well. Yeah,
maybe Optimus is sitting where you're sitting in 2 years, doing the podcast.
Would be great.
Yeah, it would be awesome.
I can stay at home.
Yeah,
and just listen.
You can teleoperate him, and
you can just do the audio by yourself. So buy a mic for yourself at home, and just
if you have your AI, your clone, you can.
Yeah.
How cool would that
be?
You.
We're done with this podcast.
Oh man, this is gonna be dangerous. You have like
it's gonna be short.
If there's gonna be a copy of Florian, man, it's gonna be a headache.
Yeah,
he will be weaving everything together.
Weaving, yeah. We will be only weaving around. Yeah, but So I think in all, it was like I think a huge shocker for a lot of people to hear it. But like for me, again, it was like that they're gonna go this quick, and it feels like they're quite far away.
I heard a rumor. I don't know if it's true, but that Elon is completely focused on Optimus, and he doesn't care about Robotics anymore.
Yeah, it's that big already.
Yeah, but
That will be amazing.
So
There will be like, okay, but Robotics is already done.
that's exactly what it is.
That's a high level of confidence.
But
yeah.
but I think that is the case. So if you look at Tesla, a lot of people say like Tesla is Elon, and without Elon, it's not worth anything, right? I don't believe it. I think the people that are working there are actually great, and I think the FSD is so far. So it's a nice bridge to the next one.
Just full steam
Well, he
ahead.
said like in Q2, and we have some slides on it, or we can bring it up on the screen. The improvements on FSD are like so quick now. I think last year, like every couple of months, we had an update. This year, or like the last 3 months, it's like update after update after update, you know. And
I'll put it on the screen here as well. We have this graph of Elon Musk reposted this chart by Philip Engberg. And there you see the rate of improvement in terms of highway miles to disengagement on FSD. Here you see the versions mapped out. So it's version 11, that's almost antique.
For the people who are not watching, it's a stacked graph. Yeah. And at the x-axis, it has like axle. It has like the versions.
Yeah, so 11.3 up until 12.5, and then the last one you see is 13.2.
Huge jump, yeah.
So this is a 750% jump in terms of highway miles to disengagement on FSD. Yeah. So we see 85 highway miles per disengagement. And now FSD is able to drive 725 miles.
Yeah, which is like almost a 10x in one update.
Yeah. You have a version update, yeah, definitely.
And you know, like, what is the thing that changed between these two versions? There's one thing.
FSD V13 is feature complete.
No, I mean, what changed at Tesla? The only thing they did is build a supercluster.
They trained more.
Because of the supercluster, right? So I think that's why Elon also says, like, I think in Q2 we'll be there.
Can you show the graph of Freda Duan from Altimeter Capital?
I can try.
I just apped it to you in our.
Okay.
She posted a graph, I think 2 months ago, or in December, where she showed the progress of FSD.
Yeah.
And she also made a forecast for how good it will be if it 10x'd another time, and it would be better than human driving. So she said it will be somewhere in the Q2 of 25. And now Elon already says in 3 months it's there. So
this one.
This one, yeah. If you open the graph.
Okay, so I'm going to read it out loud for the listeners. The power of scaling laws in a rapidly maturing product. Scaling means 1000x improvement in disengagement ratio since January 2024. That's when version 12.1 got released. And we can expect FSD to be safer than a human driver by 2025, the second quarter, that is. And the miles per reported accident is the same as 550,000 miles. The scaling momentum is set to continue, driven by even more data, advanced hardware 5 or maybe AI 5 next summer, and a greater training capacity. Well, that thing is tackled already. The new hardware, not yet. And the product, actually, a few people truly appreciate it, but with features like integrated unpark, reverse, park, and improved camera cleaning, pulling over, FSD is transforming into a truly complete product, which is why I said it's feature complete. If we expand the graph, Florian, we see here that it starts at Jan 2024, so a V12.1. Then the first actual update of that version meant a 10x improvement, then a 3x improvement. And now 3Q24, we are at a 100x improvement. 4Q2024, we saw a 1000x improvement compared to the first release.
Yeah, so every quarter or second quarter, there's like a 10x improvement. But 10x from now on is huge.
Yep.
So the first 10x improvement will already be better than human driving. So the next 2 quarters, it will be 10x better than human driving. So 10x better than human driving is like, okay, what are the governments going to say about regulation?
You can't ignore
You can't
those
ignore
kind
it
of safety
anymore.
numbers.
The data is so good,
and
the data shows it. So that's the moment FSD, Europe, and China, it's knocking on the door.
Definitely.
And that will be at the end of this year.
Yeah, it needs to be, right. It needs to be very safe. But basically, this is exactly what Elon says. So
yeah, this is what exponential growth looks like.
Yep.
Yeah. And it's just in this ramp up has been in the last, what is it?
It's a little bit over a year.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
Can you imagine how
actually
where we will be in 6 quarters? And Elon and the team is already 3 months ahead of us.
Yeah.
3 to 6.
He already sees the version, and I don't know, but that will probably be version 14, which will be better than human driving.
Probably.
So I think when he's referring to the tsunami where we've been talking about as well, which will be happen at the end of this year, he's talking about the tsunami of FSD and how good it will be, together with launching an Optimus. That will be the 2 big things which will happen this year.
Yeah, I actually wouldn't be surprised if with the next earnings call they're going to mention like,
yes,
it's going to be 9 days after the inauguration of Trump.
Yeah,
I think within those 9 days they will push something through. They're already preparing a lot of stuff. There are some rumors on that it's going to be accelerated as well. I think on that earnings call, they're going to be quite bullish on timelines. They're going to be precise on it as well. Like these are going to be the cities. These are going to be the amount of cars. So
yeah, they will be more detailed about all this.
I think we will see the first insights in the roadmap to get to.
That will be amazing.
Yeah, would be great.
A big update in terms of deferred revenue maybe for the FSD, so that we have them in the numbers.
Yeah, those are all small things in my opinion. Like, when does the revenue hit and earnings per share go up? I'm far more excited about the roadmap.
If they are going to present the roadmap, then the analysts will have assumptions in order to put into,
which is more important, because this money is already received. It's just like, when is it going to be released? But I mean, with regards to the timelines, the one thing we spoke about after 1010 is that we were, at least I was, let's say, not so happy about the vague stuff, right? So they were like, yeah, we're going to go to 2 cities, and it's just too vague. But they were, I think, mentioning 2 times, like, there will be some cities, but it's all due to, let's see where regulatory approvals are, right? Mm-hmm. And I think now they have more insights on, are we going to get them? How does it going to look like? What do they need? And also, Trump administration, Elon is basically sitting next to Trump. So
it will speed up.
Yeah, exactly. They will just say, like, if XYZ happens, then you get approval to go to a first city. I think it will be that simple. And he's going to know when it's going to hit. So
yeah, and tying into that, we see CEOs of other companies and Tesla's main competitors. So we're talking about Xiaomi and Xpeng, or which one? At least Xiaomi and Xpeng.
I thought Neo.
Yeah, and their CEOs are now openly admitting that they're like, this post we have on the screen right now is a post from Ray for Tesla. The Xiaomi CEO Lei Yun openly admits that Xiaomi is 5 to 10 years behind of Tesla. But in the meanwhile, Xiaomi is putting videos online. They're pretty far advanced as well. But for him to admit that they're 5 to 10 years behind, that's a very bullish signal, if you ask me.
Well, yeah, it's good, but it's nothing new as well. I think Jensen mentioned it last week.
NVIDIA, yeah, definitely.
And I think also the CEO of Google actually said it. So
Google CEO, Jim Farley.
And I think there's a difference between putting videos online from doing self-parking somewhere in China and actually experiencing the product yourself and having real people actually. There's a difference to that, I think. Yeah. And Well, I think this is the most bullish sign that actually the CEO of such a company is actually saying, "Okay, guys,
Yeah,
we are really trying, but we are far ahead."
it's difficult. Yeah. We're gonna need to get our act
And
together as well.
this is not only this guy, but the CEO of Hawaii.
Yep, we got him here as well.
He also acknowledged it.
And he states that if you insist on having me choose a benchmark today, quite frankly speaking, I would still choose FSD because I truly believe the overall quality of the American team and their spirit of innovation are genuinely admirable. Wow, that's a bold statement.
Well,
Yeah,
and-
it's
and-
again
and-
about
and-
the rate of innovation.
Yeah.
And then I think he says, after trying it out myself, I can see that they have many unique strengths in terms of technology, and in some areas they are even ahead by a significant margin. It's okay to acknowledge it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
it's
big.
okay.
Yeah, it's okay. Well, yeah, fair enough.
Yeah, better acknowledge and get your act together than something else, right?
Yeah, but still, like, I think so. The nut to crack is you can be at 99% in this game, but it's not enough. You need to be at 99.99%. It's basically where you have to end up. And I think
it's the March of the Nines, right?
yeah, and I think that's where they have to get. So let's hope with the infrastructure, and they are the only one. So the only reason why I'm so confident that they will is because they're the only one that have the real world data. So at NVIDIA, actually, my business partner knows quite a lot about it. He explained it to me. He's like, yeah, well, with the new models and the software that NVIDIA is sharing, they can actually have simulations of the real world. So trying to teach robots how to do stuff, cars or like robots on legs, they need data to be trained on. And they make simulations based on like how would a robot act and then train it. But Tesla is the one with the cars, at least for now, which has like real world data. And there's not... You cannot simulate everything.
No.
You need to have the real world data.
Tesla does both, actually. Tesla has a quite advanced
Yeah, but it's not only
simulation.
about the data. It's also about adding the compute. It's also integrating the software with the hardware. It's having a whole team creating a product which really works, getting all the edge cases out. I mean, there's so many things. That Tesla,
of course.
I mean, we've been following it for 5 years. It's like every edge case was like, oh no, there we go again.
Yeah.
Even more, but for me, like everybody can have the compute power, right? They can just buy it from NVIDIA.
Sure.
Simply said, I think the only real difference is the real world data.
The real world data, definitely, but also a very a user base which is testing the software for you. So, for instance, I forget this guy's name, but he's an airline pilot, and he tests those edge cases, like
Chuck Cook.
Yeah, Chuck Cook, like the unprotected left turn.
Yeah.
So you got a solid user base who is testing the software.
Yeah, the community is awesome as well.
Exactly. Yeah. So the feedback loop, it's really good on that that part.
That's really good.
Yeah, but it's also the team. I mean, is there an Ashok Alaswamy in Daimler trying to build FSD for Daimler? I don't think so.
I bet they would believe they have one, but if there really is one.
Does Damian have a CEO who really knows how to build a product like this and how to build a team?
And if they have one, they fire him.
Of course, they can buy those modules from NVIDIA but it's not a, how do you say it, a Wekamp...
like a catalog.
Catalog, yeah, let's pick this, and this, and then let's do everything, and then we got FSD.
And that's what they're doing right now. Okay, we need an automator for that, so we go to Bosch, to their catalog, order that part, and then for every part there needs to be a different API or code written.
I think the CEO of Ford acknowledged it as well. He said, we are great at building cars, but you have no idea on building software or integrated software into the hardware.
That's why the Chinese have a lead on them.
Because they know what they're doing. But
different ball game.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go to the next topic. So FSD Weekly. We kind of touched it.
Are we in a hurry?
A little bit. No, not really, but...
well, it's 6 o'clock, so...
yeah?
I only have 15 minutes left.
Okay. Florian is in a hurry, so we need to hurry the fuck up.
Yeah.
What do we want to discuss? Morgan Stanley, or do we want to tackle Elon or Elon and AFD?
Well, let's start with Morgan Stanley. I think it was something that Florian brought up. So
yeah, so we have this post by Herbert. Too long didn't read. Morgan Stanley has revised its price target for Tesla, increasing from 430 from 400 to 430 with a new bull case valuation of $800. Take it away.
Yeah, so Morgan Stanley is acknowledging that there could be a bull case where there will be a robo-taxi business model. And that Tesla is not getting the revenue from selling cars, but actually selling kilometers or miles driven. And that makes the valuation look very different, and they actually put it out there. So that's something that we need to celebrate.
Definitely. And it's a positive trend in Morgan Stanley overall, because if you remember our Australian friend, Stephen Mark Ryan, who always refers to Morgan Stanley as Moron Stanley, he hasn't done that for a while. And Morgan Stanley, at least one guy from Morgan Stanley seems to have cracked this nut.
Well, it shows that we're really around the corner. If Wall Street is actually putting this in their bull case, this is showing something, isn't it, Kenny? I mean,
yeah, well, yeah, sure. Like I think people are waking up to it in the last 6 months. So, like, listen, if you look at how do those guys work, they are invited by Tesla. They're being shown around by the senior management team. A lot of price targets have been updated.
they've been invited to the 1010 event.
Definitely.
Yeah, exactly. So
They've
yeah,
been they've been able to talk to everybody.
yeah, but sometimes
All
you
the
do get
engineers.
like very stupid takeaways. But anyways, I think like overall the sentiment has improved, and it's getting re-rated as an AI company and not so much as a car company anymore, which I think is good. I also read somebody on X mentioned like Tesla is being valued and trading like the stock trading itself is like more as like based on animal spirits, right? I mean, how to value such a company, and that's because like the total addressable markets, etc., of all those products are just insanely big, and nobody actually knows like how to value it. And well, I think now with the changing of these sentiments around it, and Jonas has been a bull for quite a while. I think only will drive the stock up anymore. But there have to become realities in the profits as well, right? So it doesn't.
It needs to show in the numbers
it needs to materialize
eventually,
as well. But if you look at Nvidia, I mean, Nvidia made a huge rush up with the stock price, and it's now like having crazy quarters, but the stock doesn't move in the last 6 months.
And it has been there for quite some while.
Yeah,
The lookout and the future prospect that it shows. But once it finally got visible in the numbers, then we saw a big increase in the stock price.
Even before. So they mentioned like we are expecting so much chip sales that they had a beat and raise quarter, like quarter after quarter. Yeah. And that the first legs are the most crazy. So let's see where it ends and how it materializes.
It's another sign that we are around the corner, and it's only 2 or 3 quarters. It's amazing, isn't it? I can't believe it.
I'm really
it's
excited
actually going to
about
happen right now.
We've been waiting for this for quite some while.
I mean, 1010 is only 2 months ago.
3,
that was like a big eye opener. Holy shit, it's going to happen, but still was not really tangible or something. Yeah. And with this kind of notes, it's getting more and more tangible.
Yeah, it is.
And with Elon actually saying last week, the FSD is getting better than human. It's getting more and more real.
Yeah. We're getting there.
Yeah. No, it is.
Yeah. So keep track of Herbert. Herbert will be discussing this a lot in the coming weeks, I believe. And then next, Mark Zuckerberg at the Joe Rogan podcast. What do you think about that?
Yeah. So I actually shared it with
Coming
you guys.
Out of the closet.
Coming out of the closet, finally.
The bro is coming out of the closet.
The bro, yeah. Well, I shared it with you on the weekend, right? It's a must listen. I think if you're 5 minutes in, you're going to listen the full way. I still remember Mark Zuckerberg shared a letter a couple of months ago. And I actually mentioned at home, like, all right, he's going to turn around. And we've discussed it briefly. Like the guy is like, what is it? Maybe 40-ish, 35, 40-ish, late 30s. So he's pretty young as well. And I think, so what he actually mentioned in the podcast, he's quite political still. So he's quite careful with his words.
Yeah, also about the vaccines. Yeah.
Also about the vaccines, but he also explains like how different it actually is to, I wouldn't say moderate the platform, but to make sure that the platform is safe, right? I mean, if you're in a building with a lot of people or in an aircraft or whatever, at least in the US, he mentioned that it's not allowed to shout fire because you can cause like harm and it's dangerous.
It will be complete chaos.
Yeah, but on the other hand, like you have freedom of speech, right? So like calling out fire on a platform and making sure people like do a riot or something also turns into harm. But then there's free speech. So he actually explains that it's really hard to run such a company and to make sure that it's a safe platform. And he also explains like we have like thousands of people talking at each second of the day, you know. And he said like we have then some ground rules, and then we can say, right, of everybody mentioning a certain word a certain number of times, we'll exclude from the platform. But he says like it's all subjective. Like you can get people off the platforms which are just discussing like normal things. But if you're too low or not strict enough, you can have people really trying to do harm on the platforms. So he's mentioning all those subtleties. And in the past, he made use of a group of researchers who researched and then like moderated the platform or made sure it's a safe place. But he's now transitioning to community nodes.
Yeah.
And Elon has been...
copying Elon.
Yeah, but it's good, right?
It's just a very good innovation.
Yeah. I mean, it's just a step forward.
But let the people figure it out themselves.
Well, yes, to a certain extent, right? So, but he explains that it's better because it's like it's sort of open source. People in the community sometimes know better than researchers.
Definitely. And researchers are also in that community, so they can also use the community nodes.
Exactly. So he explains there why he's doing it, and I think what he mentioned is that he wasn't aware of all the interference that there was in his company. I mean, this company is like huge. I mean, I've been at companies with like maybe 100 people, managing 100 people. Yeah, I don't know what everybody's doing at every time, right? I mean,
and then Facebook is thousands.
It's like thousands of people. So he just explains like how difficult it is. And I think in the letter where it all started, he just mentioned like, yeah, we got some interference from the Biden administration or from people close to it. You have the Twitter files, didn't get a lot of media attention, but they exposed like how people interfered with Twitter, like mute these accounts, block this content. But they even went as far as to like wanting to get rid of memes. So there was a certain meme that he mentioned, you know, Leonardo DiCaprio watching television and like, hey, watch this.
That's a good one.
About COVID, and in 10 years that, I don't know, people who used the vaccine then had suddenly like illness or whatever. And then they asked like, get it off your platform. And he was like, no, it's just like, it's a joke, you know, it's not, and they were like, no, you need to get it off your platform. And there was like something, I think Joe Rogan mentioned, like vitamin C was good for you, etc., to prevent COVID. But they were not allowed to have those messages on their platform because they were afraid that people wouldn't take the vaccine. And that's like screaming fire in a hall, you know. So he just explained like how difficult it is, and also with the elections, that he didn't want to push or diminish any of the voices around, so people could just figure out themselves who they want to vote for.
The most recent election.
Yeah, the most recent. And so before that, he actually shared that letter. So I think it's good if we like post a link to it. But the podcast itself, and I had some discussions at home about it already. But I think it's just very healthy to open up the discussion, like the discussion about free speech, the discussion about what we should do and what we shouldn't do, interference, etc.
Well, open discussion about the real censorship which has been taken place.
Yeah.
It's not only having free speech, it's also having censorship on one of the biggest platforms in the world, Facebook.
And Elon
and he tries to explain why it's so difficult to not have censorship. But on the other hand, he also says, yeah, we had censorship.
Yeah,
and we actually didn't give a voice to a certain number of people and opinions. So it's quite amazing that he came out. That's why I'm saying he came out.
And that's actually a very good thing, because nobody believes Elon, and
he affirmed it actually.
Exactly. Yeah. I'll try to do it.
But the crazy thing is that the framing in the Netherlands right now is this is the way of Silicon Valley to get even more power.
Crazy tech billionaires getting a grasp and control over our governments.
Yeah.
But sorry to interrupt, but this is actually the letter that he sent out. So this is a letter from Mark Zuckerberg. He says here, and so it's the first sentence of that paragraph.
Yeah,
in 2021, senior officials of the Biden administration, including the White House, repeatedly pressured our teams for months to censor certain COVID-19 content, including humor and satire, and expressed a lot of frustration with our teams when we didn't agree. Ultimately, it was our decision, content to take down, well, fine. But this exactly explains that that there is a lot of pressure from certain angles, right?
Yeah.
And in a separate situation, the FBI warned us about a potential Russian disinformation operation about the Biden family and Burisma in the lead of the 2020 election. That fall, when we saw a New York Post story reporting on corruption allegations involving then Democratic President nominee Joe Biden's family, we sent that story to fact checkers for review and temporarily demoted it while waiting for a reply. It's since been made clear that reporting was not Russian disinformation. And in retrospect, we shouldn't have demoted the story.
Yeah, it's...
Yeah, so on the one, I think, like, but he also explained, so it's easy now to say how wrong people are, but it's also very hard, right? I mean, if you get this information and they say it is disinformation.
Yeah, and it's really striking what you said earlier today. Imagine yourself in the role of CEO of a big company. Like if you're a Jeff Bezos or an Elon Musk, you've seen your shit, you've grown your skin, and you've become quite immune for power plays. Mm-hmm. But for a guy like Mark Zuckerberg, who just got like exploded into like one of the most influential persons in the world, it's very difficult to say no to such a powerful government.
Sure.
You know? And for him to bring out this is eye-opening.
Yeah, I think if you go.
Now this is the whole document.
Yeah, there is a second page to it as well. But I think it's just a good way to get some.
Here, this page.
Yeah, on the right-hand side. So I think he just said that.
No, but if this happens to Meta, this also happens to CNN or whatever.
Well,
I surely hope so. But like,
I mean, the pressure from the government to be careful about what you say.
Definitely, they want to control the narrative, and that's what we've seen. That's why, like, social media in general is such a breath of fresh air, because we're quite used to traditional media being owned by governments, essentially.
Yeah, but
and this has never been. But they tried their best too.
Okay, like I understand you are coming from this side, right? Which is completely the other side of maybe what this story is about. But I think we should try to end up somewhere in the middle. Yeah, where it's a healthy environment where people don't, let's say, start making fires online, start putting people into harm. You know.
Sure.
But it's not that simple. And that's also like I had discussions, I think maybe with you and with Damian as well.
Where do you draw the line?
Well, yeah, where do you draw and how, right? So for maybe some things, a lot of things are gray. It's not right, it's not wrong. If there is a fight, there's always two stories. Which one is the right one? But the thing is, we should have like discussion about it and be open to it.
No, you're actually asking for more compassion. Yeah. For both sides. Yeah. Which I think you're right. But
and the sides being
but it's good that actually he's actually open about it and he talks about it.
Yeah.
But the crazy thing is that we are still having a frame in the Netherlands that Mark is actually on the side of Elon right now and on the side of Trump.
He's getting blamed right now by the.
Instead of saying, okay, well, even Mark says it right now. And maybe we should reevaluate everything and be more trying to be more investigatory. Around everything and question ourselves a little bit more about the role.
Be more critical to the information that you're getting presented.
Exactly.
Go deeper, like go long form. For example, now on Zuckerberg, people read headlines. And I had the same again at home and with my parents and stuff. And I just say to them, like, listen to the whole interview and then draw your conclusions.
Exactly.
and that's, I think, ultimately where you want to go. So when my girlfriend or like friends say something to me, I just ask them questions like how, why, where did you heard it, what's it about. So same as with like problems with climate, right? So we have climate problems. And my girlfriend's pretty fed up about it, and she's like, "Yeah, what's happening to the world? And it's getting warmer." And I was like, "Oh, let's dig in. Ask ChatGPT some questions, go to some sources, and then draw a conclusion, and not just on some
do your
headlines."
own research.
Yeah, exactly.
Or at least get into a discussion.
Yeah.
But isn't like the downside of this all, like, I get you need to find your own information and do your own research and then make an informed decision. But everybody's being taught at their universities and their schools that we are already able to access information and make our informed decisions, but apparently that's not the case.
No. And there was actually, so I had a discussion with a friend of mine, and he reads The Economist. And The Economist, I think they mentioned something like, "Hey, we support Kamala Harris. Just know that it's fine. I'm not against it, but it's
but you
just,
need to know that
it's
they're
good.
actively
It's
doing
good
that.
to know.
Yeah.
So all right, you're supporting her. So all right, the stories might be a little bit colored, etc. But I think it's just like be open. And nowadays, like you cannot say in the Netherlands or also maybe in the US, I'm for this party or that party, because you end up in a fight. It's just crazy.
Yeah.
We should be, all right, are you for that party? But why? Why do you think so
There's
strongly
no
about it?
constructive argument.
Discussions? No.
Less polarization, more compassion.
Yeah, exactly.
Here, Kenny for president.
No, I don't want to be a public figure.
Well, that's a very positive note.
It's the last thing I actually want. So
Case for president. Then.
yeah, that's fine.
I don't think I would make for a good president.
We have to make you a little bit more fit.
Definitely.
Stop. Quit smoking.
Quit smoking.
I think
Cook well.
he's
Jack, can you
he's
help
perfectly fit. Jack is
next level human.
Yeah. Well, if he can turn around case, he can turn around everything. So
Well, I turned myself around 2 years ago, but something went wrong again. I started smoking again and started eating like shit.
things happen.
Do we want to end off with a quick note on Tesla stock, Kenny?
Yeah. So just to give you some highlights, I think I got quite some questions about it as well. But looking at my phone, it's around the 400 mark, so 406 right now, Tesla. I think what we've seen in the last couple of days, and they call it the beach ball in the water, is that the markets are going down based on, let's say, macro stuff and people being worried about a lot of things. And Tesla stock actually holding up very well, which is really constructive. You still see a lot of buying, so whenever the stock dips, it gets bought up pretty quickly. So whenever the markets and they go up, ultimately most of the time, I think there's a very good chance we'll make a big run up. Will be dependent on Q1, but I'm very bullish on Q1. So not financial advice again, not what we do here, but it's super constructive. And there is actually some good people on X. Simon Hill, Herbert also cover some stuff of it.
And AJ from Rebellion.
AJ, exactly, yeah. So I would really invite everyone to follow those guys. Don't get shaken out. The stock is very violent.
Yeah. Learned that the hard way. It was a very difficult first 6 to 12 months when I first bought my Tesla stock, but now if it's down 20%.
What was your expectation for end of this year, the stock price?
End of 2025 or
2025?
For me, as of now, I don't know what I said last time, but I
thought it was around 600, no?
Mine is 800 plus. AJ is at 600. I say 800
I was
plus.
at 600 as well. I think it's still 600 is. You think 800?
Yeah.
So double what we are right now.
Yeah.
Wow.
669.
It's a nice one. So for next week, any big expectations we have there for the podcast?
I'm probably hoping to see like official news getting out for Model Y production in Giga Berlin.
Mm-hmm.
That's at least what I'm looking at mostly. And I'm diving into some FSD topics regarding like the March 2025 thing. And also probably some positive news as well for not FSD supervised, but FSD unsupervised regulation.
Nice.
So diving into it, but it's a lot.
Nice. For a Europe in specific or just in broad?
All EU and ECE countries. So that's 81, 82, or maybe 83 member states.
Okay.
So full autonomy and legislation for that. So not the supervised bullshit. So once the time we'll get FSD, we're going to get it unsupervised and no longer
And
supervised.
next week we'll have Damian back again.
Can't wait.
Oh, that's going to be a headache, man. Kai, such
Well,
a
I
headache.
actually liked it without Damian, but I'm also looking forward to getting him back again.
Yeah, but
definitely.
I think important for our listeners is so we said that Damian is skiing, but he's actually not. So he's a cow herder, and he's now up in the mountains, herding some cows.
You're taking care of
Shepherd.
it.
He's a shepherd.
Yeah, exactly, of cows.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
He's like the guy from Heineken.
yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
Biertje.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, we're gonna pull up that commercial next time. We're gonna start with that commercial. It's
Next time it's going to be our jingle.
It's a legendary commercial. Yeah, definitely. Well, thanks again all for listening, and we're gonna see you next time.
See you next week.
Bye bye.
Thank you.